So, Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. This is not only the mantra, but every time we recite it, our mind should be ready to receive the knowledge taught by our great masters. So even if you think we both be blessed, means the teacher and the student, we both be should enjoy. It should nourish our mind and intellect with the knowledge. It should protect us, and there should be an active participation uh, from the mind and the intellect. And it is only possible when the mind is pure. There should not be any envy or the jealousy or conflict between. Conflict is also the sign of impurity. So that sets the tone. It also helps us to continue the journey in the state of awareness and attention. What we are doing, we are studying Panhdasi, one of the greatest uh, texts. I already gave an introduction about this master, but this master says that we should be a seeker before we start this journey. He starts directly from that you are qualified seeker, and then we can understand it easily. Just by understanding, having that knowledge into the intellect, into a pure intellect, you can recognize and realize that real self just by understanding. He has given some 7 or 8 practices at a later stage, but not in the very beginning. In the beginning, he says that you are a qualified seeker, so just listen, understand it, and realize it. What we want to realize, Sat Chetanand. What is Sat Chetanand? Literal translation is absolute existence, consciousness, bliss. Or we can simply say pure consciousness. So whether we say pure consciousness, it includes both the existence and the permanent happiness, or whether we say existence, it also includes the consciousness and bliss. Or simply we talk in terms of consciousness, pure consciousness. What is this? This is our real self. But if it is the real self, then what about the false self? And I simply gave you the equation. Individual self is equal to body, mind, complex, plus all its actions, all its ways, attitude, plus real self, plus consciousness. In the absence of the consciousness, the mind, sense organ, body cannot function at all. Cannot function at all. When a person died, we say body has come. But when a person knocks the door, we don't say your body has come. So it means that body mind complex plus the real self is there. We understood that it has got the 15 chapters, and the first chapter is all about the existence. So in the first 2 verses, he makes it very clear for those for whom this text is written. Every master in the very beginning, they they mention that indirectly or directly, that for whom this text is meant for. But all our masters have one common uh, common agenda that we have to remove the doubt regarding the validity of the knowledge. Validity of the knowledge of the Eastern wisdom. What the Eastern wisdom says that I am the real self. I am of the nature of peace and happiness. But I don't experience. So what I experience is the false self. So we have to remove those doubts. Second problem that you may remember, doubt regarding the object of knowledge. What is the object of knowledge? Means what is the goal of life? What is the goal of purpose of studying this? To find the real self. That is the object of knowledge. So then the third problem that we have, lot of projection and imagination in the mind in the form of the impurities. We need to remove it. And the fourth is the ignorance. So as he gradually moves into verse after the verse, we understand that, oh, this is what it is. But before that, keep in mind 360-degree understanding means I have to strike the harmony outside in my personal, professional, and social life. If I don't strike the harmony, the mind will be distracted there during the listening, during the practice. It will not work. And you might remember I laid down the 9 steps. We have a Mangalacharan, we have 4 connections, fourfold practices, karma yoga, upasana or the bhakti yoga, the path of emotion, and then only we understand. Then only the mind is able to grasp. It's simply teacher says something and it goes deeper inside. But we are undergoing a process on Mondays and Thursdays for that. And Saturday's session is direct approach to this. Do you also remember the 5 steps? All these steps are converted into 5 steps. Mangalacharan, approaching the teacher. Approaching the teacher means approaching the knowledge. So I should maintain my level of awareness and attention. How it is possible to keep aside our ego? And then the instruction starts and contemplation and reflection. So we have done the first verse. I'll just go through briefly the first verse and then we will go to the second verse. From the third verse to the sixth verse. 3, 5, 4, no, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the fourth verse, he proves that I am the existence. The first part, I am the consciousness. You can also say I am the consciousness. Logically, not without doing any practice. But in the first 2 verses, he lays down the strong foundation. In the first verse, briefly we have touched last in the last session. Namah Shri Shankaranand Guru Pad Ambu Janmane Savilas Mahamoha Graya Grasati Karmane. So you see there are 4 parts of the verse as I explained to you, so that at least you can prepare a note and you can contemplate on that. First part of the verse is the salutation to the, he salutes to his revered teacher. Why? Through the teacher who transmitted the knowledge, but how to approach the teacher with humility, keeping aside our ego. That is the second part of the verse. That I don't know, I'm still suffering. I have yet to recognize and realize the real self. So it's full of metaphor whose lotus feet gave birth to the Guru. Lotus feet, obviously, lotus is a flower. So we are talking of a sense of humility a level of receptivity when it comes, when the mind is pure. When the mind is pure. Third part of the verse is with a great delight. Whose great delight? It is the teacher's great delight. Teacher in the state of a great delight, he wants to remove the delusion. And what is that delusion? You still remember the devour. This. What is the crocodile? Huh? Delusion of crocodile. I gave you certain. So now you see that, try to understand this verse clearly, that I also recognize that there is a delusion in my daily life and activities. How to recognize that delusion? You wake up in the morning and you are upset, delusion. You look at your honey and you have differences, delusion. You have a binding desire pops up in your mind, that is delusion. You wake up in the morning and, oh my goodness, my knee is hurting, and you get obsessed with it, delusion. You don't take care with the discernment, but you lost it. No, I cannot go anywhere. Let me send the text. No, I cannot meet today. I have a headache. Delusion. You return home in the evening and you have an extreme fatigue, mental and emotional fatigue. You have a sense of hesitation, delusion. So this is what the master is saying, that uh, crocodile is equated with the delusion. And I gave you an example that crocodile catches the prey, and then in the river and in the pond, in the water, it starts moving at a very high speed. So that even if he catches the deer, deer is broken into hundreds of parts. With a great delight, the teacher is ready. The master says that he is ready, or the master also says that what his master did to him. With a great delight, his master removed all the delusion by applying the discernment and dispassion. So I have to maintain that level of receptivity and awareness. Otherwise, this listening and learning, it will work. You are not the highest level of a seeker. By listening to it, you become a seeker. Maybe in the middle of a journey. You are the highest level of a seeker, you receive. You receive the knowledge directly. And you start changing your behavior and attitude. So that is what the first verse he lays down, what I laid the foundation before, the 360-degree understanding, 9 steps converted into the 5 steps. So he is referring indirectly there. Now see the second verse before he begins directly with the teaching. Where is the second verse? In the second verse, let me pull out the verse first so that I can. So in the second verse, he again points out, let me, Namah Shri Shankaracharya. Yeah. So what are the 4 parts of the second verse? So he stresses again the pair of lotus feet of the teacher, that I am already settled in the state of humility. So he is talking of 4 connections and the 4-fold practices. That is another meaning of. So I remember 4 connections. You still remember in your head what are the four connections? Qualified seeker, what is the subject matter? My subject matter is only the real self. And the real self cannot be objectified. It means it cannot be perceived through my sense organs in the mind. And that is why I'm learning that how I have to achieve and recognize that real self, which is a subjective reality. And in order to have that subjective reality, I need a purified state of the mind. So the master in the third part of the verse, he says there is an easy understanding of the truth. How? By the process of discernment. So it means the seeker is ready, it is prepared, it is aware, it is attentive, and it does not go after any form of delusion. Focused on Vivekam, Viveko Ham Vidhiyate. Viveka is discernment. Let us dwell a little deeper into this verse. The path to the truth is purifying the mind through another word that we use traditionally. To the service, you serve the teacher. What message it gives you in your head. So you have a projection in your mind. Oh, yeah, I have to serve the teacher. I'm not ready. But the service means that my mind is highly receptive. I receive the knowledge as it is. The way it is transmitted, I'm ready to receive that. That is the meaning of the service. Other factors are secondary factors. You're paying or you're not paying, that is a secondary factor. Second point is that you don't see the teacher as a uh, individual. You are focused totally on the knowledge part. It means what? I'm totally focused on the knowledge part. It means I bypass the physical perception of that teacher. My mind is very much focused at the subtler level. That is another meaning of the service. That is why many people say that you still, now your master has left. No, my master cannot leave me. If you move with that pure emotion, if you move with that knowledge, my master is alive all the time in the form of a knowledge, in the form of the wisdom. That is how we, every every teacher who follows this tradition knows this. Why knows this? You realize you have something that you have not understood from a particular text and you focus your mind. Again, I'm making it very clear. I want to know and understand, or I want to receive the knowledge through the form of a name and the form of a guru. Main goal is knowledge, wisdom. Main goal is. What are the religious way to explain it? You go to the church. You are praying. You are seeking peace through the image of the Jesus. You are praying for peace through the image of the Krishna, so that I can hold my mind until the peace manifests. That's another way. That is what the service is. So it is more an internal than external. External is just a symbol. And we have been offering prayer and the worship purely at the physical level. And that is why it does not change. So I leave the prayer at those places and I say I'm a spiritual person. Even then, it does not work. But because I don't have that perception, I did not evolve my mind. I did not understand it, what exactly it means by the prayer, worship, or the service. Prayer, worship, and service has nothing to do with a particular cult, dogma, belief. You have to clearly understand the way the Eastern wisdom talks about it. So it means what? Anytime I have a sense of anxiety, let me offer my anxiety to the name and the form to receive the peace. So my receptivity of the mind increases. That is the uh, first two-line meaning of this Sukhbodhai Tattvasya, for easy understanding of the truth. Now this is the master saying that I will make you understand the real self or the pure consciousness or the existence consciousness bliss in an extremely easy way. And I'm initiating the discernment. So if you are ready for that discernment, then I'm ready. But remember the previous verse also, the crocodile of delusion. How many times your mind was distracted during the listening to other things that you can easily adjust. So it means, we need that level of awareness and attention. There we can find the choiceless awareness. So if you go a little deeper into this second verse, the importance of serving the Guru, importance of serving the teacher. I made it very clear the meaning of the service. So the second line says purification of the mind. You have purified the mind, you have served the master. You have served the master. And then I am 100% clear about the about the process and about the concept of viveka. Why? To understand this real self, to understand and recognize and realize the real self. In the second verse, this is how another way to understand it. So, and I know I have already gave the foundation. So all those foundational points are relevant here in the first two verses. And that is why I took more than, I think, 9 or 10 sessions to make it very clear. Unless those foundations are built, this knowledge fails to help you recognize that. So, teacher's guidance is crucial for the spiritual growth because he understands your personality and attitude, and based on that, he gives the same expression which will help you. Purification of the mind, I have already told you, is very, very important. We have already understood what is this purification of the mind. Discernment. Discernment here, do you still remember self-discovery with discern or any research with discernment is a spatial research. And normal research, you can go to the scientific research, you have to collect the data, you create a protocol. And later on, when you find the result, and you see that it is a biased result, but we start with the discernment, so there is no question of any biases should enter. And we have a clarity. What is discernment between the real and unreal? What is that unreal, which is constantly changing? So anything which is constantly changing, I cannot find the real. Thought has come, I got carried away by the thought, but the thought is changing. I'm not a qualified seeker. I did not leave that thought there and then and and regain my attention and awareness. Just giving a lot of, I can give a lot of examples of that. So you see the discernment. Anything that is constantly changing is unreal. How I have to approach the real, I have to clearly understand where I have a clinging and attachment. Oh, that is first thing. Okay. Then I stuck to something that is changing. Why I stuck, that is an attachment. So I recognize what exactly is this attachment or the detachment, likes or dislikes. I get upset because my expectations are not met. So I drop that expectations. I see the reality. That is also the purification of the mind. And sometimes your mind may be confused at what exactly is the purification. You wake up in the morning and you're upset with the honey, and you drop that being upset because I'm expecting something. Why shouldn't I do what I am expecting from the honey? For example, any relation or friend. So this is what the master is pointing out at a very subtle level, the purification of the mind. Can you link it to the four problems of the mind? In your head, the doubt regarding the validity of the knowledge, doubt regarding uh, the object of the knowledge, projections, perception with projection. 99% our mind perceives with projection. Projection comes from the past impressions which is already stored in my mind. And that projection starts creating likes and dislikes, attachment and detachment. Then comes the binding desire. From the binding desire comes the greed or hesitation and the delusion. Why Master used the word delusion is like a crocodile. It is moving you all the time, all the time. Now you see, I just gave a chain. Past impression is known as, or trillions. It is known as the vasana. Vasana, they remain active at a lower level, but the moment I wake up, my sense organs are ready to perceive the objects outside, but I perceive with a projection because of that vasana. You have to keep that in your mind. And then now perception with a projection. That projection contains likes and dislikes. I start keep on thinking about it, it causes the attachment and detachment. And if the thinking reaches to a point where it becomes the desire, I wanted to have a portable monitor so that I can attach to the laptop. If this computer is not working, I'm ready. Within minutes, I can go for it. So I just looked at the Amazon first day. Second day, I searched into the Google. Third day, but I was aware how my mind is working. It is projecting. In that projection, it says, no, it is this is good, that is good, but I forget that my mind has already projected the monitor. Now my mind is thinking how to own it, how to possess it. Are you understanding? That comes from the past impression. What? I ended up buying it. Even though it is right. Yes, it is necessity, it is right. But this is how the entire journey, this is what the master is saying. The crocodile of delusion is working. Can I not take this session only with the laptop if the desktop is not working? Yes, I can take it. So this is a positive format of this binding desire. There, so you accept it. Okay, now you recognize it. So you are not worried about it. There are negative format of this projection, and that causes the delusion. You see, I'm repeating again, past impression. You can say conception. Second level is the perception. Perception with those impressions, and you are in a waking state. The mind perceives the object. So now it is a perception with projection. Projection, perception with a projection. Now, with perception with a projection creates a sensation in me. What is that sensation? Oh, if I own it, it will work. If I own this car, it will work. You see, that is feeling, emotion. So that is the sensation. That is what the likes and dislikes are there. And then the mind creates a thought pattern based on this likes or dislikes. I hate this guy, I like this guy. And now you have a keep on thinking of attachment and detachment. So there comes the desire. Desire unfulfilled, hesitation. I get upset. Desire fulfilled is the greed. So then comes the delusion. So you see why the master explains the crocodile of the delusion by this series. Would you like to appreciate this master the way he communicates the masses? So now I know the chain reaction of getting upset. I'm not, you are not able to meet my expectations. That's why I'm angry and hesitated. I don't want to talk to you. I have a disliking or a liking, or I'm attached. And once so what happens now? I'm discerning whatever is changing. Come back to our main topic, whether I'm discerning. So discernment is very clear, real and unreal. First, it is constantly changing. Second is I'm stuck with any changing identity. Why I am stuck? Perception with projection has an element of likes and dislikes, has an element of attachment and detachment, has an element of expectations. My friend, even if you don't study the entire Panchadashi and you understand, you constantly contemplate and reflect why I'm upset, follow this chain reaction. I can bet you within moments, within second, you get out of the anxiety, you get out of your hesitation, anger, and expectations because you are now very clear. Why I'm hesitated? Should I be hesitated? Answer is no. Why I'm hesitated? You know the answer. So one way, one perception, it's a crocodile of delusion. And based on that, it is the impurity of the mind. So Master is saying there must be a purity of the mind. If you don't have a purified state of the mind, it will not work. It will work. You will become seeker at a later stage if you are not a seeker. But still, listening and learning is Eastern wisdom is very important. Which branch of the science tells you that they what the way you are living your life with a personality, with an individuality, is your false I. So even when you listen, it stimulates your intellect and the mind. So then what is the real? And if you keep on contemplating and reflecting, oh, is there any reason for my stress because I'm living in the false side? Now you see, in artificial intelligence, they teach you prompt engineering. Do you know that? Prompt engineering means that you have to ask a question to connect to the artificial intelligence. But we have a real intelligence, as once you are aware, you have a thought that it is the false self and we said it is the real self. You go back home and you are aware and attentive of this principle, you start thinking. You are upset. Oh, which one is upset? Is the real self upset or a false self? So this is prompt. When you ask the question, is the false self is upset or the real self is upset? So this is an artificial intelligence. We say it's a prompt engineering. How you put the prompt. We say it is self-inquiry. We have been doing it for so long. I'm just giving you a comparison. Because we know the power of discernment, I have to ask the question and I have to seek an answer. I'm just comparing. My son was teaching me, so I learned a lot of this. So I said, no, you have to teach me almost weekly. So that let me grasp. I should not lag behind it. So, what is there in the second verse? The student, the seeker, is asked to approach the teacher in a spirit of service. You are asking the question in relationship to the service. You are not getting carried away. And devotion. Devotion is the same thing, recognition. Why? Are you inflating the teacher's ego? No. You are deflating your ego. You keep aside everything so that the mind continues to live in the purified state of the mind. There is nothing like our external preparation. When you go to the yoga studio, you have to wear this type of a clothes. You cannot wear the belt and long list. Here it is internal preparation of a seeker. And that is why yoga, Patanjali yoga, normally people classify into two groups: external yoga, yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pranayam. Until pranayam, you have an external yoga. And the internal yoga, pratyahara, the last four steps. It is internal yoga. Now, see, one point is left. The mind becomes pure by serving the guru. I have clarified what do you mean by service, which means you follow, the seeker follows the teaching and practicing continuously with commitment and sincerity. That is how you serve the teacher. A pure mind is a receptive mind. Are you receptive? If you are, you have a pure mind. So that receptivity versus the impurity of the mind has to be properly understood. The teacher is one who knows this real self. He worked for years together. If you want to be a billionaire, and if Elon Musk gives you the time, you are ready to go to him and find out what are the ways. The same thing here. How to become a billionaire. So in the second verse, the master lays stress on the service and the devotion and clear meaning for the highest seeker. The meaning of service and devotion is that I have a higher level of receptivity to receive the knowledge. Even at this moment, you are listening to me and your mind is distracted, you are easily able to bring it back. That is what. Oh, no problem. If it is not possible, you get carried away by any thought because of the attachment. Find out the chain reaction. So you contemplate. You need not to do any practice. You sit down. How many times my mind was distracted? For what reason? And it means now I have to find out how many clingings and the attachment that I have to the external world. And what the teacher taught me, I have to strike a harmony. Oh, did I not strike a harmony? So it's a 50-50. You are equally responsible for the journey. Equally responsible. Then only the master says, that is why I told you, I'm repeating it again for the sake of understanding. That is why master says, crocodile of delusion, service and devotion, higher level of receptivity. Higher level of receptivity means the purity of the mind. Otherwise, there is a difficulty in grasping this knowledge. I lack the power of discernment between the real and unreal. How come my mind declares the unreal as real? So I start listening every concept, every principle based on this false projection by my mind, and I miss the practice. So, my friends, from the next session, when we take up the next session, there are three, four, five, six, four verses in which he proves logically, he makes you aware that you are the real self by simple examples. So we will go through each and every verse in an organized manner that I have already made you understand. We will divide the verse into the four parts, and then we will understand each part, and then we will assimilate that knowledge. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed, and can you understand the symbol of closing your eyes? Closing your eyes means symbolically you realize and recognize that no sense organ can help me find the truth. So it's a symbolic. Now, eyes you have done. What about the ears? Ears should always be attentive to the instructions. At the same time, this you should not lend your ears to any other sound. That is also important. Same thing with the skin, the touch. You are aware of the touch that helps you, that you are sitting comfortably, and whatever the sensations you have with reference to the body is not creating any likes and dislikes. Are you understanding? I believe so. And then smell, it's okay. Yes, you can have the incense in the very beginning. That is okay. But even if you don't have that, too is okay. So basic thing is that we are not getting carried away by the physical perception means what? There is no physical perception with projection. But we will continue to have the similar verse from the other text. Yadi deham prathak pratyah. If you separate your body from mind, allow the mind to rest within, you are in peace and happiness here and now. Many masters says it has nothing to do with the practice. It has to do with more and understanding. So this is why I say it is a non-practice. I agree with them. So I do not kill the physical perception through the sense organ. I strip the mind from projecting anything based on the past impression. To make it easy, I say being comfortable. To make it easy, I say change the direction of your mind. You are aware of the world outside, become aware of the neck joint. So you have changed the direction, outward moving tendency to inward moving. Why the mind cannot move inward? Because of impurity. So now I'm looking and feeling sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Now I look at the root joint of the neck joint. Neck. Root joint means me. I'm asking your mind to be little more receptive. That is what I'm asking you. Little more aware and attentive. You see, so that dissolves the false notion that you are doing some practice. And when you are a little more aware and attentive, you recognize as if the mind has started living within, and it is so easy. But we don't ignore. It is so easy. The mind has an inward moving tendency, it is living within, and then we experience the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. As a result of looking within, I experience the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. It has nothing to do with the practice. Explore. Did you do the practice? Say, for example, I look at Brandy and then I look at Jerry. Is it a practice? Eyes are open. I'm aware of both of them. So that is what the master wants to convey the message. You are aware of the external world through the sense organ. Now you are aware of inside. Finished. Be very clear. It's a knowledge part. Can I say it's a knowledge practice? Yes, you can say in the beginning. Awareness of the entire body. So, with awareness and attention, you are aware of the entire body from the top of the head to the toes. Good. And then you look inside. Why you want to look inside? To check, is the mind living within? Or the mind change the direction. As during the conversation, sometime you pay attention to one of your friend, there are five of which you're talking, and suddenly you change the direction. You pay attention to someone else. Be very clear. The subtle ego part says, I'm doing it. It will return again and again. That is how we are also going deeper into the journey of mindfulness without any practice. Yes, I experience sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Another point in the state of sensation, comfort, and steadiness, I can clearly recognize this body is separate. We know in deep sleep, definitely it is separate because I'm not conscious of the body nor of the mind. In a waking state, it's a damn challenging and difficult. So we have the purity of the mind and discernment. Very subtle impressions in the form of a sensation, non-verbal identification of the body still continues. Where is identification? I gave you a mathematical equation. This is body plus I am. Hence, I am the body. This thought plus I am. It means I am the thought. So if you go open the thought, you will find likes and dislikes and projection and attachment and detachment. So to remove that, to increase the greater receptivity, you are looking at the breath. That is how the Buddha realized it. You're not changing the rate and the rhythm of the breath. You are not focusing. Focus means that you have started doing something. We're not doing anything. Casually, I'm aware of you all, even when I'm giving the instruction. So it has less to do with the focus, my friend. So you are just, if I say you are aware of the breath, and in that field of awareness of the breath, you become aware of the incoming and the outgoing breath. You feel the sensation of the breath inside the nose when breath goes in and comes out. I'm not using the word inhale and exhale. It means that we have started doing something. I'm careful. And the third point, that there is no change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath. Now, now see that. Buddha did not only teach this part, he said, now this is a reference point. If you study his literature, his teaching, then he also talks about dispassion and discernment and the impurity of the mind in a different way. Anyhow, so you are aware of the breath. You are clear about the reference point of being aware of the breath is going in and out, no change, and feeling the sensation. This is your reference point. So, with that reference point, you become aware of undesirable, unwelcome thought that enters into your mind. Your reference point is clear. Any thought that passes into your mind, you instantly become aware it has come from to cause the impurity. So you let it come and you let it go. Now let it come and let it go will definitely work. We are at a red light. You are with your car at a red light. Your reference point is your car in the red light. You will not move. Well, if you move, how come you move? Because some thought has prompted you to move. Did you understand? Some feeling has prompted you to move. I did the mistake 2 times in New Jersey. So you see, they prompted from the past impression, perception with a projection. Then I have a clear thought to take an action, and that prompts me to cross the red light. Luckily, we are saved. Luckily, that comes because of the luck. Same thing, crocodile of delusion is always there. So, in the state of sensation, comfort, and steadiness, and reference point is the awareness of the breath, you let it come, let it go. Any undesirable, unwanted thought, let it come, let it go. I have to say nothing except reference point is clear, let it come and go, sensation, comfort, and steadiness is there. The result is I experience the separation from the body, and the mind is not getting carried away because let it come and go. So, mind is allowed to rest within. Then what? Then it is your recognition and realization. Sometime there is a, unconscious movement in the body, or maybe some sensation. That is where the past impression comes into play with the projection. And you are just aware, let this sensation come in. Suddenly the body moves, it's okay. Oh, oh, let this movement has come, it has gone. Mm. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Mm. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Oh. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your Buddha palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. Share your experiences. How are you, Stephen?
Good, sir. Thank you. I think I say the same thing every Saturday, that there's so much in there. Um, but my contemplation reflection during this whole today's lesson, I was trying to be attentive to every aspect of it, and it just kept going around and around. And I started to think that there's always a sequence and a cycle to everything here. And I understand the importance of the teacher, because the teacher is providing the knowledge, and the knowledge is really important part of all of this, because there seems to be only one truth, and that truth is the real self. And in order to get to that truth, we have to have the knowledge, which leads us to the awareness, and the Eastern wisdom helps us to recognize and overcome the delusion and ignorance that comes with past impressions, projections, and so on and so forth, which then is like back to the cycle of you have to be attentive, listen, and learn. And, so it's going through this whole thing. So this is what kept going on and on and on. And then it was, you said something about how simple it is. And then I started thinking about what we're doing during the week and how simple bringing the japa into our lives, and how you have this cycle of delusion, or the crocodile, turning over and over and over again, but with a simple exercise of the japa makes all of it go away instantaneously. So it shows how unimportant it is, and that is truly the false. So if the focus could be on just the truth, be easy to get there, easier to get there. Can't say it's easy, because this is a journey, but that's where I'm at today. So thank you.
Beautiful. You summarized each and every aspect of it. You made a remark that there is only one real self, something like that. Only one reality in this entire universe and cosmos. What is the criteria? Whatever is changing is false. So find out from the sun, galaxy, universe, from our home to our relations, to our body, mind, intellect, and ego, everything is changing. What is not changing is the real self. What is that real self is the consciousness. What is that consciousness? I made it clear. For the sake of communication, we say consciousness, but fact is, it is existence, consciousness, and bliss. All the three elements are together. And that is what we are. He is going to reveal to us, this master is going to reveal to us that I'm the real self here now. Beautifully, beautifully summarized. Thank you, Stephen. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you. Yes, Saturdays are always unique and different. So for me, I was attracted to the comment that anything that changes is not true. So I then focused on the river, and you look at the river and it looks like it's changing, but the reality is the essence underneath it is H2O, and that's not changing. So everything in the world has got something in front of it that is causing change, but if we really focus and get to the essence, we get to the truth. And so consequently, I had a very deep meditation.
Beautiful, beautiful. One master used to say that you cannot step into the river twice. Why? Because you have already stepped in the river means the flowing water. So you cannot step into the same river because you cannot find the same water again, same impressions again,
Right.
same thoughts again, same feeling again. Yeah, you rightly said. It helps you to go deeper. And what is this? As Stephen says, this is knowledge. We need to have that knowledge. Beautiful. Thank you, David. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. The takeaway that hit me was prompting the engineering, and that led directly to what prompts me. And I said to myself, well, if we begin and end with existence, consciousness, and that auspiciousness, then it's easy. So
Yeah.
that's the prompt, is to begin and end there.
Beautifully said. In fact, our masters, or I would say the entire journey of the Eastern wisdom, says self inquiry. Inquiry with the discernment. If I don't ask the question, that is what the prompt engineering in artificial intelligence is. I don't get the result. I don't get the answer. Artificial, you leave out intelligence. I want to find the answer. For what? So I have to ask the question to myself. So this prompt engineering is inside. I am the real self. Can I stick to it? I am the real self, and then how I am the real self. So whatever is changing is not me. This house, this entire universe, Arizona that we are living, that Arizona is also constantly changing. When the mind stucks to something that this is permanent, that means infatuation, that means obsession, that means projection. So our prompt engineering, there is a course. You were saying that there is a course about 6 week certification of prompt engineering to get used to get a proficiency in artificial intelligence. So yes, it is very important to ask, to raise the question, to doubt why I have anxiety. I should not have it. I'm asking in a different. No, why I'm upset? Why? Now you already have a reference point. but we never ask this question. I already received many emails. I have an acute headache. I cannot attend the session. I did not ask the question. There is no prompting. So there the master wants you to be alert. How are you, Brandy?
Thank you. I'm good. Um, I reflected today on what you said about harmony, and that's keeping the outside things outside and the inside what it is, steady and
Yeah,
peaceful. And it occurred to me kind of what you just said, framing it in another way from my perspective, is that the anxiety comes from letting the outside in.
yeah.
Right. And about the harmony is when you keep everything kind of in its right place, which I'm not always great at, but I'm working on that.
You are great. Everyone is great. How can you say you are not great? But you,
I'm not great at the separation.
who is saying that you are not great at separation? Who is in you? So that is the problem. Yes, you keep on asking the question. You keep on raising the question. Keep on raising the question. So you see the harmony. You have already drawn a parallel, striking a harmony to the external life with reference to the projection. So there is no projection if you have struck the harmony outside in your personal, professional, and social life. Majority of our thoughts, 99% of our thought pertains to these three areas. If you closely look at my personal life, my professional life, my social life. So and all they are changing, one liner, all they are constantly changing. Our relationship with our honey, with our parents, with our students, with our teachers, constantly, you can use the positive word, constantly evolving. Means evolving means changing. And what is changing is unreal. So there is no reason to be anxious. Beautifully said, Brandy. How are you, Terry?
There was so much in the lecture, and I'll have to listen to it again. But just a minute.
I will make it simple. There is only one thing, what is real self and what is false self. And the rest is the explanation.
Right. And it's amazing how active we are all the time.
Yes.
And most of that mental activity,
Beautifully said.
and most of it is either toward the past or the future. Unless we sit and stop, we never experience otherwise. That's what struck me.
Beautifully said. Our mind is hyperactive, not vocally, not by action, but mentally, emotionally. I have millions of the thought passes every moment, every moment. And that makes me mentally active. So there the teaching of the Eastern wisdom becomes very clear that mentally I have subconscious thought, feeling, and the sensations with reference to the world outside, even if it is at the non-verbal level. I act instinctively. I act habitually. So that action part is so much. Why I explain to you, I summarized based on the Eastern wisdom. The mind is by default is of the nature of satoguna. It is curious. It wants to know the right knowledge. But because of our habit, because we are living in ignorance, this mind has adopted a posture of rajoguna. So the moment you wake up in the morning, we have all those instinctive, habitual thought, feeling, emotion, processes continues since I wake up until I fall into sleep. Millions of impressions. And there it prompts me to act in a certain way that further creates the impression, and I continue to live in ignorance every days after days, weeks after weeks, months after months, years after years. That causes the suffering.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Continue to think and contemplate. Brandy, she is keeping her hand on the chin. She is still contemplating. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.